This Friday, we're bringing you Prime Take with Mufta Nabila Abdullah, and he's having a conversation with Mrs. Sannie Daara, the former GFA Communications Director for AM Sports. Don't go away.
GFA?
Yeah, GFA.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to stay for that? Yeah, Mr. One is staying for that, so you should stay for that. See you soon.
How are you doing?
Fine. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you so much, CT.
Thanks for having us in your office.
Thank you very much for coming by.
You have a very nice place. Is this where we see the exclusive from?
A lot of things are plotted here, actually.
Really?
Yes.
Since when?
We've had this office for more than 15 years, specifically located within Nima for a specific reason. I come from this neighborhood. I went to Makaranta in this neighborhood. I grew up with a lot of people who were very talented and knowledgeable, but because they did not cut the path for themselves, they could not make it either in life or find a path for themselves.
Yeah.
So I made it a point that, number one, I reached some heights in journalism or in my career that a lot of people would not have the opportunity to. So I wanted to be, like a role model for the people, and most importantly, not to tear away from the people. The reason being that a lot of the times when people come from this neighborhood and they make it in life, they try to find neighborhoods where there are high fences,
Yeah.
and the rest people don't see them, people don't have access to them, and they don't make an impact on the society. I remember one time I was working at the BBC. I came for holidays and I was sitting right in front here with a lot of people I grew up with. A friend of mine who was also a product of Nima was passing by and phoned me and said, "Why do you mingle with these people? You are a class above.
Yeah, you're not at the BBC.
You don't have to mingle with these people." And I laughed because that morning we had returned from burying one of the folks in this neighborhood. And it reminded me of one thing. At the end of the day, we are all the same. We are not greater than any other person. Maybe perhaps we were fortunate because our parents were keen on the path of education.
Yeah.
Maybe their parents didn't know, their parents did not have the money to, they did not have the guidance to if they had the money. So if we have the opportunity, one, we must not forget where we come from. Two, we must make an impact on the community. And three, this is where you find the most genuine love. I've been across the world, I've seen a lot of people, but the love I find amongst my people is unique. I'll narrate one story. My maternal grandmother passed away one day. I was in this office when my sister called me and told me that my grandmother had passed. I was just in this office. So one of the guys was here and I told him that, look, my granny has just passed. Let me just, quickly rush there to start the preparation for the burial. So one of the guys is the one I informed that my grandmother had passed away. Now listen to this. By the time I got to Dakuman, where my grandmother lived, where she had her house, and started the preparation, I saw a bus load of people from Nima who had not been informed coming there. By the time we got to the cemetery for the burial, about 3 bus loads of many more people had joined in. They were not informed. They were not told of a funeral. And then after we had finished, I was surprised. A lot of them, including the member of parliament for the area, including the assemblyman for the area, and all the people, all of them turned up. Now, in the evening, Those who had gone to work and had come here, I came back to the office in the evening because I had lots of deadlines on the various things I had to meet. So I had to come back to the office. I came back to the office. I was just here, just about to do my evening prayer. There was another delegation. They came here to say that they were away at work, so they could not come for the funeral. So they were coming to commiserate with me. It doesn't happen anywhere. This is the sort of people.
So if you want to find love, it is within communities like this.
I'm telling you, that's the truth. That is the pure love. People love you for not what you have, but they genuinely do that for you. And I see this not only with me, but with everybody. People have issues, they have events, funerals, and the rest. People turn up in numbers to support them in one way or the other. And very often people say, oh, Nima is this, Nima is that. It's not true. I've lived here since childhood, and I'll continue to live here, and I hope to die here. I say this for a reason, because there are many people who are even much more attached to the community than me. There's somebody I know. He has a house in East Legon. He leaves Nima at 10 p.m. in the evening and comes for dawn prayer in Nima. Dawn prayer is at about 5 a.m.
Yeah, 4, 5 a.m.
So what time does the person go home and what time does he return? It's very, very common. If you have lived in Nima, it is very, very difficult to tear yourself away from it. Because there are lots of things. People don't sing the positives about Nima, Mamobi, Newtown, where I was born and grew up. People don't sing the positives. It's only the negatives that people hear about. But there are lots of positive things, very, very talented people, knowledgeable people. Perhaps they don't have the opportunities that life gives to a lot of people, yeah. And some of us, the opportunities we had.
Are you from a privileged home?
I would say I'm from a middle class home. I was very, very fortunate, number one, that my mother was an educationist. My mother has a PhD. So, in fact, when my mother was attending the University of Ghana, I was then at Presec. She was the only female wearing hijab then at the university, because I used to walk from Presec to run away from school to go to my mom to go and get money.
I see.
My mom, at that time, my mom was the only female wearing hijab on the University of Ghana campus. And she has a PhD. So it's a very high bar for me to climb. And she was also an Islamic preacher and also mentored a lot of girls in this country, a lot of people, not only girls. She was a head teacher of some schools in Newtown. I think Accra, Newtown, 6 and 8. She was the head teacher, but after she had all the 5 of us, she went back to school to do her degree. She did her MPhil and went to the University of Birmingham to do her PhD. So I come from a very, very
educated
home. Even though my father was not educated in terms of our ways, but he imbibed in me, first of all, my first knowledge of journalism. I'll state why. My father had about 8 radio sets.
8 of them?
8 of them. Then the airwaves were not liberalized. So he would tune in to BBC Hausa, Deutsche Welle Hausa, VOA Hausa. So he would be switching from one channel to the other, even though he was not educated through the formal education. But he bought the newspaper every day, Graphic and Times, every day.
And how was he able to read?
I think he...
Or maybe the pictures?
No, I think he read it. But he also bring it home so we can also read it. But I don't think my brothers and sisters took much interest in it, but I did.
Okay.
I did.
Your siblings are 5?
Yeah. No. My father's got 2 wives, and I've got lots of brothers and sisters.
But your mother gave birth to 5 of you?
Yes.
Okay.
My stepmom has 8, and my father had a previous marriage to where he had. So we are quite a large family.
Are you up to 20?
No, hitting that. Maybe we could have formed a team and some reserves.
Your father couldn't strike well. My father produced about 23 of us.
Oh, well done, 2 teams.
About 23 of us. You said something quite interesting about your mother when she was at the University of Ghana. You were at a pre-sec. Which year was this?
I think it was in 1988, thereabout, yes.
So you went to pre-sec in 1988?
Yes, 87.
87?
Yes.
That was around the time we're now changing to junior high, secondary school
Absolutely,
system.
absolutely, around that time.
Okay. But what did you study at pre-sec?
I did general arts, I did literature, I did English language. I took a lot of interest in reading. The reason being that I already had the inkling of being a journalist. So
and
I knew...
From your father's 8 radio sets?
Yes, 8 radio sets and the newspapers.
And the
so I took interest in it already. So, you know, when I was going through the motions at pre-sec, I knew that it was a path I wanted to cut. And there were very, very interesting guys in pre-sec who also helped to hone this in me. And let me pay tribute to a few of them. There's Reverend Emmanuel Okomensa. At that time, there was a magazine called World Soccer. It had then come out fresh. And Reverend Emmanuel Okomensa's father was then working with the Electricity Corporation of Ghana in Bolga. So he had something small. So he could afford to buy the World Soccer magazine. And then he would give the World Soccer magazine to me. So I started reading it, I developed the love, and that was when I started liking Barcelona. I started liking Barcelona because I read about the community nature of the team, how it was formed, and all of that. It was thanks to Emmanuel Okomensa. But there were lots of mates of mine there too as well that honed and developed the talent in sports journalism, so to speak. I wanted to be a footballer. My mother was vehemently opposed to it. Why? Because in the neighborhood that we grew up, Nima, Newtown, Mamobi, wherever, a lot of footballers were then seen as bad boys or vagabonds or school dropouts. But I had a football team, you know, at the age of 12. There was a league that was played here, right at the Newtown Junction. There's a league called Floodlights. It was a league of kids, many kids. A lot of the footballers then went on to be top players and professional footballers, a lot of them, including Ghana's former under-17 goalkeeper Ali Abubakar. And many others, many others.
I see.
So we all grew up around the same neighborhood, but when I went to pre-sec, that truncated my football dreams. In fact, it was the reason why my mother wanted me to go to the boarding house quickly, because living in this neighborhood, you can't control the kid. So, you know, I had to find a way to still stay in the game, so to speak. Then the media landscape was not liberalized, so there were no opportunities for sports journalists to thrive.
Yeah.
But I kept that interest. And I kept reading a lot. I kept honing the talent. I kept interest in football. Even when I was at pre-sec, I used to run away from school to go and watch Ghana Premier League matches.
Oh, I see.
Yes, we did that. We did a lot of bad stuff, you know.
Like?
If I tell the pre-sec headmasters, there was one housemaster called Mr. Amonkote. He's a very, very nice man, good teacher, and a good man. generally. This man, you know, was the housemaster for my house, Ree's house, and he would go looking for vagabonds in Presec. He will catch all the vagabonds, but he will leave me out. He'll come and say, criminals! Nah, man! Saying in God, criminals, you know, the bad boys who go out at night. And I won't go out at night, but I'll go out during the day. I'll find a way through IPS and walk to Legon, where I could get the trotro to go to art center just to go and watch the house training.
Hey.
We did that. We did a lot of stuff that the school didn't know about, but it helped in many ways.
Did he kill his fowl?
No. We didn't go that far. But in fact, he used to invite me to his house to eat because I took a lot of interest in sports.
Oh, okay.
I took a lot of interest in sports. There was Mr. Boy Badu, who was also the sports master, used to like me a lot because I took interest in sports and all of that. So that honed that interest in sports journalism. So I had to take it to the new level, and I would say I was fortunate that by the time I had finished, you know, secondary school, entering university and all of that, it coincided with the time that Ghana was liberalizing its way, and it gave me the opportunity to want to aspire.
You mentioned something about setting up a football team and wanting to play football. And what actually happened to that dream of setting up the football team and playing the football and all that? What actually happened?
Yes, we set up a team called Gallibon Stars, and there was a league being played there of kids.
Yeah.
And I want to replicate the league somewhere down here called Downside, because I think the kids these days don't have the opportunities to play like we did and the opportunities to do things like we did today, because the playgrounds have been limited today because of, you know, real estate development and all. At that time, we had a lot of pitches here. There was at the Lima Roundabout, there was the Ngozi Park. We had the Kanda Parks. In Newtown, you had the park at Was, and then Floodlight, that's the junction where the current Bank of Africa is. It was where Floodlight actually was. And a lot of footballers were honed from there. Maybe 80 or 90% of them went to play professional football. So I have the thinking that all of these kids in the neighborhood must also get the opportunity to want to play. And I'm thinking about what to do, time permitting, to also start a league that would give the opportunity for kids, maybe under the age of 10, to play football and enjoy it again. So we did Gallibon Stars, but at that time there were older people who had a lot of money, so they formed Tesco, and there were Muslim Stars. They come from Angola. They had a very, very good team. It was managed by Alaji Papa Angola and Adolfo. So they had Muslims, great Muslims they call them, and many, many teams. I've even forgotten, there was Tesco, there was Obutu, teams like that in the neighborhood, and they recruited players from all over the place and the rest. But we were poor. We were young boys. We were the bad footballers.
You didn't go to your mother for money?
No, she won't give you. No way. No way. So, you know, it honed that interest in me, even though our team did very, very badly. But hey,
it's still the reason why you are here.
Yes.
You're still with the sport. So, growing up and having the interest in journalism, I recall some few years ago when Fifi Banson spoke about how you used to call on the show and all that.
Yes.
How did that happen?
It's true. In fact, I started with Carl Tufor's, in fact, on your TV station, on your radio station, Joy FM.
Oh, okay.
Yes, there was then Sports Link. That was when Sports Link, we had a long show on sports radio in Ghana. So I started being a serial caller, and also subsequently when Radio Gold came, I was also a serial caller. But what happened then was that Carl Tufor was so impressed with my inputs that he would even consider giving me his column in the Ghanaian Chronicle to write.
I see.
So Carl will tell me, Ibrahim, if you have something for my column today, I'll leave it for you. So I started writing and at the same time also broadcasting. So when it happened at that time, so Carl was inviting me for programs on Joy as well as Fifi. But there was a nice coincidence, I would say, that at that time I was going to Legon. It was also at that same time. I don't have to leave out this bit of me that I went to Daara Training College before going to.
Oh, really?
Yes, before going to Legon. But in Daara, I was like the commentator for football matches, even though I played, but I was also a commentator. So whilst I was commentating, I got a lot of fans from people.
But area man, community champion.
Then, whilst I was on the verge of entering the University of Ghana, one day I went for a program on Vibe FM. I'll tell you a story. Ketu Kreku was then coming on a show. So I met him in the lift. We had a conversation, just introduced each other. Him and Kwame Bamyaku were starting Radio Universe Sports.
Oh, okay.
So I was going on a program on Vibe FM. Then I met Ket in the lift. He was also coming on the show. So we had a conversation. And then I don't know, by accident I spoke Hausa and he spoke Hausa to me. So we became friends. And then he told me that he wouldn't have the time to be coming on a daily basis on Radio Universe. So since I'd gained admission to the University of Ghana, he would want me to take that. And he introduced me to Kwame Bamyaku, who was also then with him, together with him. They were starting up the Radio Universe sports program. So Kwame also said the same thing because Kwame was busy, apart from being a student, then he was also a TA. And Kurt also was coming from home. He lived in Achimota, so it wasn't far for him to come. So he found it a little bit tiring to do the daily sports programs. So what we did was they mortgaged the daily shows to me because I was on campus. But at that time, already at that time, I was juggling a lot of jobs, you know. I was running a Forex bureau.
Really?
Yes, lots of stories.
Oh, wow.
I was running a Forex bureau at the time. I was going to school and I'd also taken it upon myself to start, you know, bequeathing something to the kids in the neighborhood. So I would spend some time also teaching English language in some of the schools in the neighborhood and vacation classes and the rest. So I was juggling all of that.
Really?
So those early days you see start from 3 a.m. and end at 10 p.m., 11 p.m., midnight, started not today. So we started those days like that and we're truly, truly hustling. Those days, there was no internet, and then the internet came. There was just one internet cafe or internet service in Ghana. It was at Adabraka called Ghana Internet something. There was a gentleman there. You go there, just to open one website will perhaps take you 30 minutes. To visit just one website, let alone visit the articles in there. So I was very, very meticulous in how I found my news. I developed, even though I was not trained as a journalist, I was developing the instincts for hunting for news. So those days, information was not as forthcoming as it was. You needed to hone your contacts, you needed to hone everything. You needed to do everything manually. I'll spend a lot of time and a lot of my own resources to look for news. And most of the news I would get, I can keep it for 20 years. It will just be with me.
No wonder the exclusive case.
It will just be with me. And I can promise that I can promise on radio that there's an exclusive. I'll release it next month, and it will be as fresh.
Really?
Yes, it will be as fresh. Those that lived those days can testify to that. Then, whilst it was ongoing as well, through this, meetings of minds, Fifi Bansing, we used to spend a lot of weekends together. Fifi is a very, very lovely guy. You must meet him. He must tell you stories. We used to meet every Saturday after 4 p.m. After we finished his program on Radio Gold, there was a meeting point in Circle. We'll go there, eat food, lots of food, have long chats with Echo Asma and all of those guys, Yahan Pofuankra, Randy, and all of those guys. When we finish, we'll just go into the night on Saturdays. So we developed a lot of friendship. A lot of people helped and honed my career, and I owe a lot to them. So at that time, whilst I was at Universe, I was also doing a sports program on Choice FM. So we had regular column or regular sections within the weekend show. First to start in the country to do Sunday programs. So after football matches, for example, Randy and Yao will anchor the show. I'll do the international news. In fact, that aspect of international news started with me. I'll say humbly. People didn't know about Turkish clubs. I was mentioning Turkish names, and it drew a lot of interest from a lot of people. And there was Stéphane Le Cousson that did the French leagues and covered African football. Then there was Tetenate, who was doing Colts football. So it's one area that has not been done these days. There was complete coverage of Colts football regularly. It's one area that people have not taken up to.
Yeah.
So those days, Colts was promoted heavily, even divisional leagues, even to the point there was a playoff match between Tudu Mighty Jets and Alhaji Franco had a team. I've forgotten the name. They were playing in a Division 2 playoff. The attendance that day was more than 30,000 people, and it was played in the military barracks in Burma camp for the fear of violence breaking out. That was a Division 2 match, because we were heavily promoting lower tier football. We were making people who were then not known household names. There was a striker at Tudu Mighty Jets called Basa Basa Striker. He was scoring left, right, center in Division 2. Basa Basa Striker, yes. So we made such players household names even when they were playing in Division 2. So we could even drive 20, 30,000 people to watch a Division 2 match. I think that trajectory has changed. We have gone to chase for, more of the foreign news, not paying much attention to local football. So it's one area I'd encourage.
Alaji, I want to take you back.
Yes.
What happened to the forest brew business?
When I left for school, it was a family business.
Oh, okay.
When I left for school at the UK, I had to...
Was it your father's business?
No, my cousin's business.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. So what about your siblings? What did they do?
Varied. I'll tell you one story. So, to tell you a story about my mom, she raised a lot of children that were not hers.
Yes. How many of you?
Maybe number more than 20. Some of them I didn't even know were not my direct relatives, or were, family, but maybe distant family, because we're all raised the same. My mother is quite popular in the neighborhood and what she did generally in the country. A lot of them, so I'm coming. So my auntie, who's my mother's junior sister, was then staying with my mom. So she was a nurse. So a lot of my family members turned out to be nurses. So I don't know why, because
she had a very positive impact.
Yes, yes. Hajia Sauda, people in Mile 7, in those areas, Tantra and the rest, they know her very, very, very well. She's a community nurse, but she's made a lot of impact wherever she's been. She was also an Islamic preacher. She's made a lot of impact. So as a result of that, my elder sister, who's in the States now, is a nurse in the States. My cousin, Ajia Diza, she's also
a nurse.
My niece, Mimi, she's also in the States. She's a nurse. Some of us took, people took very
someone complains of headache.
Yes, but some of us also took to the educational field. My elder brother, he died a couple of months ago. Mohammed used to work at the Ministry of Education. He took the path of my mother, and a lot, The
Ministry of Education.
Yes, my mother used to be a director at the Ministry of Education. So, she
I like
was
the name. I've asked for the name.
Her name is Hajia Katumi Mahama.
Katumi, okay. My auntie's name too is Katumi.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. What a coincidence. What a coincidence.
Yes.
Your brother, is it Mohammed Sannie?
Yes, Mohammed Sannie. Yes. He
at the Ghana
passed away.
Education Service?
Yes.
Unfortunately, I've met him before.
Wow.
Yeah, I met him when I went there, was it 2017, 2018 or so, to meet the then Director of Education.
Yes.
In fact, we even exchanged phone numbers. Yes.
I think he was then the personal assistant of the Director of Education. Yeah. He died, he passed away a couple of months ago.
I have his number on my phone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. His number should be with my elder brother.
May Allah accept his soul.
I mean, a very, very good guy, very, very humble guy. And he his name is Muhammad Sabir. And that name Sabir, it means patience. Okay. So that name has a lot of telling on himself and his lifestyle and how he lived his life. May Allah have mercy on him.
Amen.
Yes. So, that's a trajectory. Some of my other brothers are living in the States, some are in the UK, wherever it is. I've got my elder brother, Abdul Muttalib, is a tax, whatever. We are many.
At what point did you get to the BBC?